Yo, 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 hit 'em high, hit 'em low. Welcome to the No Bull Just Ball podcast. It's your boy Nick Hughes alongside Brandon Brito, Julian Delgado back with this once again. This is the Daddy's Day podcast. It is not being filmed on Father's Day because,
Hence why we gave Alex the day off.
yeah, we gave Alex the day off anyway.
Happy
Special
belated
shout out to
Father's
him.
Day to all
Yes,
the
very.
fathers.
Yes,
Every single
special
one of you.
happy Father's Day to everyone. Happy Father's Day to Alex. I will never say this with him on the podcast, but he is a wonderful dad and a great human being.
Yeah.
Again, won't say it when he's here though.
Absolutely not.
I think he's a pretty good brother too, but I mean, I'm not
Yeah,
from that.
he's
it's
pretty
still up in
solid.
the court.
Really cool dude. All in all, really cool dude. Anyway, though, enough of this shit. So obviously, with the Father's Day theme, we're gonna kick this thing off, and we're gonna play a fun little game of this or that. And real specifically, we're gonna go father or son. So I'm gonna give you guys an MLB father and an MLB son at a position. Now, these are not, a father-son duo, since in a lot of cases they don't play the same position. So I'm gonna give you a father, I'm gonna give you a son. You're gonna, sort of pick your winner there, and we'll go from there. We'll start this thing off on a fun little note here. So we're going to start at the catcher spot, okay? And the father is Major League Baseball Hall of Famer Ivan Rodriguez.
Pudge.
Yes, his son is Derek Rodriguez, who had a couple nice years with the Giants. I think he's still in somebody's farm system floating. And another Hall of Famer, Sandy Alomar Jr., as the son. So, very different there. Obviously, it's the son of Sandy Alomar, brother of Roberto Alomar. So, what are we thinking there? You got a pair of Hall of Famers. You got, on one hand, I mean, Ivan Rodriguez may be the best catcher of the 90s and early 2000s, outside of maybe Mike Piazza. That's sort of like a 1-2 punch. Sandy Alomar Jr., though, known for being just an absolute defensive stud, known to call an incredible game. So what are we thinking?
I think I'll take this because I know this all too well. I think that at the end of the day, I think I'm gonna go with Pudge. He redefined the catcher position.
Okay.
Really good, and he was really good. We just said he was the second, probably all-time second best catcher out there next to our boy Mikey P. But I really think that his stats speak for themselves. He recently just retired, so I think at the end, more recently, I've been like 10-ish years ago, 10, 8. But
I'm in that
He
ballpark.
retired in 2011, so we're going on to like 11 right now.
oh shit, I was close.
Yeah.
I don't know. Long story short, I'm just gonna stay with him. That's my bet. No facts behind it. Just
I'm gonna double down there. I'm gonna go Ivan Rodriguez there. Obviously, the Puerto Rican tie. Also,
They both are.
no,
Let's
that's
go.
true.
Yeah.
But I actually went to see Ivan Rodriguez play in Puerto Rico. Is more what I was going for there.
that's
So that was a nice little thing for me. Yeah, I mean, I think it's also just, there's a certain element when we do these. I think when you go historical comparisons, like you give the nod sometimes to the guy that you saw, you know what you were watching. We were kids for most of it, but still, we had the understanding that what he was doing on a ball field was pretty much always second to none. Like I said, Piazza is probably the closest comp given the time. Just incredible ball player.
You think there's anyone currently in the league now that will contest the conversation for that? Let's say 11 years down the line.
Oof. Like best catcher of the last, let's say 20, 30 years. I think that I guess Posey would have been in the discussion, kind of retired early.
Yeah, that's really a position that's hasn't really had a lot of stars besides like Posey and Salvador Perez.
Yeah, I guess.
I mean, Yachty.
They've really been the
Yachty.
Yachty.
Yeah, I was gonna say Yachty's
I
probably
mean, all of them I think will get into the Hall of Fame. It's just, I don't know. They don't hold the same, to me, in the same breath as like Pudge and Sandy Alomar Jr.
That's fair. That's fair. So Julian, who was your pick there?
I also am going to go with Pudge because that's one of my favorite players of all time.
There we go.
But as soon as you said him, I thought it was going to be a lot bigger difference in their stats. They have very similar stats.
Yeah. It
Which
was a
that surprised me.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's also a testament though to the eras. Sandy Alomar Jr. played with, some of the game's better catchers, as we talked, and more from an offensive standpoint.
Yeah, exactly.
As we talked about, with the catcher position, it's sort of become, in later years, you have guys who, obviously catching has always been a difficult thing to do every day, but now there's even more rest for guys. Additionally, a lot of teams subscribe to the idea of having a defensive backstop, maybe add a little bit of pop here and there, but it definitely wasn't this like middle of the order threat that, the guys we're talking about were.
Yeah, the idea of the catcher, he no longer has to be like the man.
Yeah.
And they play both sides as well. Like now,
Exactly.
using the DH to both like the NL and the AL makes it more so that like a guy that catches doesn't have to be there 7 days a week.
Exactly.
2 games a year, like you can catch a few times and maybe pull Dalton Varsho, go to center field, maybe pull any other catcher and your boy Sanchez, who just left the Yankees, and be DH half the time.
Oh yeah.
Speaking of another Yankee catcher, Trevino just hit a 2-run bomb to put the Yankees in the lead.
Did he?
Yeah. Like literally as you were saying that, notification on ESPN.
That's
We'll get to him in a little bit because I actually have a very interesting thought about him, but that pertains to a conversation we'll have a bit later on. All right, we're gonna move on to
before we move on, would you say everything has changed?
Huh?
Would you say everything has changed since with the new catcher situation?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's very different.
Yeah.
Very different. Very different. So first base is where we're headed next. And this was an interesting one for me because if you ask me this question, maybe 5-6 years ago, or not 5-6 years, if you ask me this question maybe 3-4 years ago, I'm gonna have a very different answer. Okay, so it's for a father, it is Tony Perez at first base.
Okay,
and then the son is Cody Bellinger. This becomes a very different thing with Bellinger absolutely falling apart over the last 2 years.
Yeah.
You're talking about a former MVP in his third season in the big leagues, rookie of the year, what felt like to be a perennial all-star. They let go of Corey Seager essentially because, the mindset was Bellinger would snap back to what he was. Perhaps maybe the biggest victim in baseball of the switch from the live ball to the dead ball kind of situation now. I feel like we have to go Tony Perez here.
Yeah.
I think it's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
Just because I'm looking at Tony Perez's stats now, he's very much so consistent no matter the season. And it wasn't as steep of a drop as Bellinger has produced.
Yeah, that's the thing is that's where I was really struggling with this was if you were seeing this a couple years ago, because there are going to be a couple guys that show up here that are younger guys.
Yeah.
Where you're taking the potential essentially of what it could be, of what we've seen so far and everything like that. So if we're doing this, even a year ago, maybe off of just the pandemic shortened year that he played poorly, you're saying to yourself, I like the odds of the bounce back. Now it's feeling, he's now maybe the fifth most important bat in that lineup, sixth. So it's a very different thing. So I feel like it has to.
Bellinger been in the league?
The same year as Judge. So what is that? 2017.
This is his sixth year.
Yeah.
So this is his 6th year. So he has one MVP.
1 MVP, 2 All-Star appearances,
Yeah.
championship.
By now, to put it into like context, Tony Perez would have 3 MVPs and 3 All-Star selections.
Yeah, this is a next person.
All right, yeah, fair.
On to the next one.
All right, moving
But
on.
Nick, I'm proud of you because you didn't throw CJ Cronin to this one at first base.
Thought about it. Really mulled it over there, but no, it did not. So we're gonna move on here. This is gonna be one that really tugs at my heartstrings because you have 2 of my favorite players of all time here. The father is going to be Craig Biggio of the Killer Bees on the Houston Astros of the late 90s, early 2000s.
Okay.
The son is Robinson Cano, whose father pitched in Major League Baseball briefly. So obviously there's the PED stuff with Cano. Biggio is a Hall of Famer. Cano, again, it's the question marks, but the numbers are definitely there. This is a tough one. I'm going to say Biggio because of the steroid stuff around Cano, but I guess technically speaking, considered he played with Jeff Bagwell and Jeff Kent at one point. Biggio is, definitely, a little bit of a question mark, but hindsight 2020. I'm just throwing this out there. I feel like it has to go the guy in the hall as opposed to the guy who maybe should be, but definitely won't be at this point.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to piggyback off you there. I mean, the heart is saying Robinson Cano, but I feel like the right answer here is Biggio. I think at the end of the day, Cano has. It sucks because he's played for both the Mets and the Yankees. He will go down with probably one of the purest swings in baseball history, which is absolutely beautiful. But then at the same time, it's like, man, getting caught once with PEDs, okay, maybe, but twice, it's kind of like, I don't know, man. And then nowadays, he's like, I think he's back on the Padres, but on their minor league team. But he's just not. He's one of those people that unfortunately just can't let it go. And instead of doing the obvious thing and letting go, he's ruining his name and his chances for being an all-star. Not an all-star, for being a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, it's hard. That's a tough one.
I'm gonna go with the grain on this.
Ooh.
I'm going to say that Robinson Cano, I'll take his peak performance. I'll take that over Craig Biggio.
Okay.
I respect that.
Because I'm just looking at all their slash lines, and Craig Biggio really he's consistent. He's definitely more consistent, but Robinson Cano low-key is too outside of this year and then his first year with the Mets. He's never batted under 270 for the season.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
So I'm looking at it he's always had a high batting average, high slugging, high OPS, and he's done. I mean, granted, he's also on one of the Yankee dynasty, so he was in the perfect position. But I'm just looking at it. If you just show me 5 of Cano's best years and then 5 of Biggio's best years, I'm probably picking Cano.
And the thing is, to add to your point there.
I just think if he doesn't have those PEDs, I think he's in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Pretty easy.
Yeah. And that's the hard part. But I think his best years too were also definitely pre-PED. There were no question that he was taking best years. So that's to add to your point. But I have a question for both of you guys, a really quick spin.
What's up?
Ready? Going second baseman, Alfonso Soriano or Robinson Cano.
That's actually really tough because Alfonso Soriano is maybe one of the most underrated players of the last, I'll say, what are we in 2020? One of the most underrated players of the last 20, plus years.
Which is really unfortunate because didn't he fall off the ballot really fast too in the Hall of Fame?
Yeah.
which is I thought that was a shame. I thought he should have stayed on for a little bit longer.
It's a weird, he's one of only a handful of guys with, I think it's something like 300 home runs, 300 stolen bases. One of the only 40-40 guys in baseball history. It's insane because it's a victim of the era circumstance, I think, with Soriano. If Soriano plays today, he's Javier Baez at second base.
I also think because he went to a lower market team at the time, that kind of ruined his greatness because a lot of people weren't paying attention because the team wasn't that great.
In Texas, yeah.
He goes to Texas, then I think it was it Washington, Chicago. Yeah, and that wasn't the good.
Yeah, I mean, he was still all-stars for all of them.
Yeah. No, for sure. But
until 2009, I think.
Yeah.
The last one.
Yeah.
All right. So we'll move on now, and this is going to be a very tough one because your opinion on one of these men, like personally, is going to impact a lot here. So third base, I'll give you the Sun first here.
Okay.
I went Cal Ripken Jr. at third base just to make shortstop a more interesting thing. But the son is Cal Ripken Jr. The father is Pete Rose. I have a very specific issue with Pete Rose. And my issue with Pete Rose is predicated on the fact that while I acknowledge he is baseball's one, and let me clarify, not baseball's, Major League Baseball's all-time hit leader, because baseball's all-time hit leader between the Japanese League and Major League Baseball. My thing with Pete Rose specifically, though, is was he the player coach of the Cincinnati Reds for the last 5 years of his career, all of which are him playing at age 40 plus. He's putting himself in a lineup, maybe undeservingly, to collect hits and play subpar defense. There was no designated hitter available at the time. And then what has followed has been, maybe the worst case of a guy just, this is a guy where in the face of the steroid era, his gambling thing should mean nothing, honestly.
Spider tact
but he just keeps making it worse somehow. And now he's just hypercritical of every player in Major League Baseball. He called Ichiro the hit queen. It's just really unlikable, dude. So for that reason, I'm gonna go Cal Ripken Jr.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the coffin and the head there. I don't think there really is anything similar to the Robinson Cano thing, right? Like Pete Rose, no one's arguing that he wasn't a good player at his peak and at his prime, as Julian mentioned previously and how you're alluding to now. But you flew under the radar and now you're just shining all the lights of Los Angeles or whatever, on this issue of you being a gambling coach / player. So it's I don't know what you do there,
Yeah, just not very good at marketing himself at this point.
Yeah, I can't argue with Pete Rose. That's just
the
gambling thing doesn't really bother me as much. It's just Cal Ripken helped save the game.
Yeah.
So I can't really fault him for that.
You essentially have a case of one of the all-time, if you're going heroes versus villains in the game of baseball.
Oh, it's 100%.
Which is a very tough thing to. Huh?
This is the battle.
That's what I'm saying is this is a really weird thing because baseball is not good at least not anymore, at building characters.
Yeah, everything's changed.
Yeah.
It's not really this very likable, versus very dislikable based on how they're marketed. That doesn't exist so much in Major League Baseball today. But when you go back and look through the analogs of baseball history, this is maybe one of the most disliked individuals in the history of the game. And one of the most beloved. I mean, I think you put Cal Ripken next to Lou Gehrig and
Oh yeah, no, he's in that like
Baggio and
he's in that pantheon of people who like save the
Ted
game.
Williams. Yeah, like you
yeah.
just you
He's
love
the
you
face of
love
baseball.
him, but you hate him. So it's just very interesting. I just really like that one. So we all went Ripken though, right?
Yeah, I'll go Ripken.
Yeah,
I think
Yeah,
even
okay.
as a player, I probably would take Ripken's defense over Rose as well.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I mean,
Again, Cal Ripken Jr. is I think the game will remember him as a shortstop. I think just for the sake of what we're about to talk about now.
I think it's just showing my age that I think of him more as a third baseman, but that's
Well,
probably just because of my
yeah,
age.
of course, that's when we were live. But
Yeah.
in the analyzed
The
baseball,
grand scheme of
the phrase for today.
Austin Hayes just hit for a cycle.
Huh?
Austin Hayes just hit for a cycle also.
Oh, nice. Look at that.
A lot of those this season.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Guys are running. All right, so we're gonna go to shortstop. We're gonna go one very exciting option, and one option I'm gonna need you both to look up quickly. So I'll give you a chance to type in the father here is going to be Maury Wills, Maury Wills, Wills. It's shortstop.
Interesting.
Okay.
Okay. Then the son is Fernando Tatis Jr.
Why are you doing this?
This is why Cal Ripken Jr. had to be a third baseman. Also, I would have accepted Cal Ripken Jr. as a third baseman to throw Bo Bichette, but
Yeah,
it was a this or that of young guys playing currently, and trying to
I thought you
really.
were going to say with his dad.
also Maury Wills could also have been at a third base. Just putting that out there.
Oh yeah, for sure, but then it was like a Pete Rose thing. Where do I put him? So Maury Wills is my shortstop, alongside Fernando Tatis Jr. So because simply Fernando Tatis Jr. is top 3 marketable players in baseball. On top of being uber exciting, his only real injury troubles are off the field, never on.
Freak accident and then tripping over a ball.
Yep. Like nonsense. I'm gonna go Tatis. Controversial pick, not really in 2022, but I'm gonna go Tatis. What essentially you're looking for here is does Tatis
the bat. But if Tatis follows what he's been doing, which I absolutely think he's going to be.
Okay.
I absolutely think he's going to continue this trajectory. I think this injury was a freak accident. He'll get over it, play in San Diego for 5 more years, and then leave to go somewhere because they eventually all leave San Diego.
Yeah. Didn't he sign like a 15-year deal or something stupid?
But then San Diego gets impatient. They'll get rid of him.
That man literally signed his life away.
But it's all said and done, I probably will end up taking Tatis.
The only argument against Tatis, and I'll go a little against the grain here, is that while they are freak injuries, like messing up your wrists this early on in your career, like you don't really know.
Is it on his throwing arm? I don't remember. Was it in his throwing arm or was it
non-throwing arm? Left.
Okay,
it's his left hand.
I mean that does change things a little, but then you're talking about batting, and like at the end of the day, how much activity you need with that, and like he just recently came out saying that he's not progressing as well as they would have liked him to be. I don't know if that's just them saying, "Hey, we're going to eat this year and just get you ready for the playoffs," or he genuinely is hurt and not recovering fast enough. But like that's something that like raised a red flag for me. I'm going to just highlight Maury Wills also because I'm looking at him now. If you said look him up, he has a pretty good resume as well.
He has a really good resume.
At this stage in his career, the only difference I'm seeing between him and Tatis, saying 3 years into their like professional career, Tatis just won Rookie of the Year over him, but they both got MVP in their second year. They were both all-star players and MVP candidates their third year. So like at the end of the day, I give credit where credit's due. I'll probably go with Tatis just because of the trajectory that he's going to have, but I don't know. I think it's going to be close.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of like educating, people on the pod, man. I really want everyone at home now to know who Maury Wills is after today. Go us. Applause for us.
I'll also say this because I'm just looking at his numbers. Tatis has a little bit more pop in his bat than Wills.
Oh, for sure.
The OPS and slugging is a lot more. I feel like Wills is more of a contact hitter. Yeah. But
then look at when he was playing too. Like
exactly. He's playing in the 50s and 60s when that was actually useful.
Yeah, exactly.
Very different. All right, we're gonna move on to left field, and we have two very big last names. That not for nothing. Again, it's Bonds and Griffey, which happens twice here. By the way, we have Bonds versus Griffey's in two different capacities.
Okay, so
in left field.
In left field, we're taking
Barry Bonds, the son, and Ken Griffey Sr. It's Bonds. Yeah, it's Bonds.
It's not really much.
I
thought this was going to be more like. Yeah, I thought we were going Griffey or Griffey and Bonds, like Ken Jr. and Bonds, and that'd be a fun conversation because that's something me and my roommates used to have.
Yeah, day. That's a different day. That's a different day on this podcast. In center field, we have the other Bonds Griffey matchup being Bobby Bonds as the father and Ken Griffey Jr. as the son. Again, it's a wash. I'm going to save everyone at home trouble. Still great names to know. Anyone at home.
And Bobby Bonds wasn't a scrub. Like he was a really good player.
Not by any means.
He's a really good player. It's just
for sure.
You have Ken Griffey fucking Jr.
In right field, we go fun one actually. Because they played at the same time too. This adds to it. So the dad here is going to be Vlad Guerrero Sr. The son is going to be Moises Alou.
I was waiting for that one to come up. That's I mean,
I think Vlad has the numbers.
I am biased. You already know where I am going.
Vlad has the numbers. Vlad is a Hall of Famer. Moises Alou, though, very interesting article up on nobulljustball.com about what could have been Moises Alou and the Montreal Expos in the 1994 World Series, but that's neither here nor there.
Go check it out. It was a good read.
Very good read. But yeah, no, I have Vlad here.
Pains me.
I think it's
almost ironic.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Like
you must have.
You already know he's my favorite player of all time.
Yeah.
It wasn't going any other way. Even though I really like Moises Alou, and he's had great seasons. He's not touching Vladdy in my heart. That's what it is.
No, not at all. Vladdy's
no fair.
Talk about people who changed the game of baseball.
Yeah.
Talk about Vladdy right there. He's trouble.
So let's talk about the other Vladdy. Because now we're a little out of position for these next two guys. But we had two great hitters that I wanted to make sure I included on this list. And I'm going to throw in a DH spot just for this.
Okay.
So tip my hat a little bit there. I have Vlad Guerrero Jr. as the son for the DH.
Okay.
The dad in the DH slot is Tony Gwynn. Yeah. So just take a moment there. Really, really just contemplate what you value as a human being in a ball player, whatever you really got to think about here.
I can't do that. I can't go against Tony Gwynn.
You think that. You really do think that. Until you really, Tony Gwynn, all-time great contact hitter. Absolutely phenomenal.
One of the purest swings of all time.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. I mean, especially considering the era he played in, maybe the best recognition of what he wanted to do at the plate and an ability to get it done every time out. if I'm not mistaken, one of the closest to batting 400 in a season since the late Ted Williams.
1994, he batted 394.
Yes.
Yeah.
On the other hand, though, you have Vladimir Guerrero Jr., who essentially some would say should have been MVP last season. Some of those people is me, but beyond that, you have a situation where he is both a massive power hitter, a perennial triple crown guy, because the batting average and RBIs are there, the OPS is there.
He ended 21 with a 311, by the way. Just pointing that out.
Yeah, so
He's also only 23 at the moment.
yeah.
Yeah.
So all stuff to consider here.
So-
I'm gonna need a
I got it. I got an answer. I have probably the only answer you could say at this point. Career, you got to give it a Gwyn because Vladdy only had 4 seasons under his belt. He's
no, but you got to go projection here. The same thing we did with Tatis.
No.
You have to.
It was closer. I'll give you that. It was closer when you look at the first 4 years.
That's what I'm saying. Because first 4 years, I'm gonna go Vlad. When I go like cap off 4 years, because as of right now, Vlad's in his 4th. I'm gonna go Vlad. But career wise, I'm gonna give it a Gwyn because we revisit this conversation when Vlad's career is said and done. It'll still be very close, similar to how it is in the first 4 years, probably with what Vlad has already accomplished and looks to accomplish with the way he plays. But that's just my answer. It's very much like even keel, but that's the way I look at it.
Question. I don't know if you guys will know this answer off the top of your head. Let's say projection Vlad continues this for the rest of his career. Would him and his dad be the first father-son duo in the Hall of Fame?
Yeah.
I don't know that off the top of my head. I'm just asking.
Does no one else?
I mean, if he can, he doesn't even have to. I'm going to be very honest. The way I view Vlad Jr. right now is not really. I think it's partly.
And he's no slouch as a defensive first baseman.
No. But
He's
that's the
really
thing is, I don't. I think
because he started originally as a third, and then they transitioned him.
But it's for that reason. Positionally, I know who he technically is supposed to be compared to. It's supposed to be his father. The name that always pops up for me in my head when I watch Vlad Jr. play, I feel like I'm watching Miguel Cabrera again.
Yeah.
They're actually
that is the comp
very
that I love.
There's no father-son duo in the Hall of Fame. Wow, that's a fun fact.
Yeah. So technically speaking, if you're going wins above replacement, the greatest father-son duo of all time is Bobby and Barry Bonds. Now, if you have 2 Hall of Famers, and not that Bobby Bonds was a slouch, but if you have 2 Hall of Famers with, let's say he just puts up identical stats to his dad, you have 2 Hall of Famers and statistically the greatest father-son duo of all time.
And then also the fact that Barry Bonds is not in the Hall of Fame, so probably won't make it.
Well, that also that helps. I need to get one in to have 2. So
hot take. They'll take the Griffeys as baseball's family.
That's a tough one, man, because that's
especially if Junior continues this trajectory, it's gonna be kind of hard to argue with that, because even though Ken Griffey Sr. was a really solid player, really good, he wasn't the same as his son, but it's gonna be night and day.
Yeah, it's really hard.
I'm also take my bias aside.
Yeah,
I've been rooting for this kid since I saw that he signed with the Blue Jays as a Dominican player. I've been rooting for this kid.
I think that's hard because if you're going full families, you got to count there's been 4 generations of Boones.
Oh yeah, the Molinas are up there.
There's Molina's. The Molina catching dynasty is stupid. You have
rings that all of them share at their dinner table.
Then you have the underrated part of this that I was trying to figure out how to work in some capacity. Not that it's a grandfather grandson of Mike Yastrzemski and Carl Yastrzemski. Not that the grandson can necessarily hold a candle at this point, but still he's been a good ball player. And
Yeah.
you then have maybe one of the most iconic Red Sox of all time.
That's a reach.
What? Or
No,
which-
the grandson, not the.
Oh yeah, no, you can't hold a candle to him. But I'm just saying, like, you have so many, like these eras of baseball, sort of woven together by these guys. You have like 8 more Alomars, like 3 more Alus. You got so many like family names.
And I think Vladdy is the oldest of.
Yes, there is another one on the way.
There's I think
That
one or
should
2
be
more
there.
coming into the league.
Yeah, that's a scary thought.
You're giving the Molinas a run for their money there.
Yeah, I was gonna say at that point it's becoming something very different.
Yeah.
So we're gonna transition from Vlad Guerrero Jr. to even younger players, because not first we sat and spoke about my boy Maury Wills, because we're those guys, but we're also the guys who can talk about the kids, man. Bring it to the streets, bring it to the kids. We're gonna talk about the top rookies who have impressed us so far. I'm gonna ask each of you a second to give me a name of a guy who's debuted so far this year. Give me, what your outlook is on him, what it is about him that is really sort of shined for you to this point. And if you guys don't mind, I'd actually love to go first.
Go right
Yeah.
ahead. You're
Uh,
fine.
So my guy, and I'm actually this has been a really tough one for me. So I've gone back and forth between 2 guys specifically. But ultimately, I'm going to go Mackenzie Gore. Through the start of June, a couple of stats here. 3-1 with a 1.71 ERA. He has been, to my understanding, the Padres' top prospect for the better part of 2 years. It wasn't like a shot in the dark here. We knew this kid was coming. He has been absolutely lights out. This is a rotation that I'm going to list off for you. Guys that are already on this team. Sean Manaea, Mike Clevenger, Yu Darvish, Blake Snell. Up until earlier this season, Chris Paddock. They traded an all-star away to make room for a 23-year-old rookie because they could not hold him back. And the results are, I mean, you can't even argue this at this point. Like, this is, oh, I'm so sorry. There's also Dinelson Lamet. Left him out as another guy on this Padres, pitching staff. And for me, I'm just in awe of what Mackenzie Gore has been able to do. I think to essentially, again, we're talking about a handful of outings. He's going to go through his slumps. He's going to go through his hard times. You're going to see then what kind of ball player he really is, what his makeup is as a pitcher. But just to be hold this important of a role on it's a runaway as a playoff team, at least when you look at the standings today, and to be counted on and believed in by your organization this much, I think there's a testament to that. And to be able to pick the ball up and go every time and prove them right is, something different altogether.
And it's paying off. Padres are very close. I haven't looked at the standings today, but last time I remember they were tied with the Dodgers.
Right on it as.
It's paying off.
Oh yeah. All right, who wants to go next on this one? Who's your guy?
I don't have one guy, so I'll go last if you have someone. Julian.
Oh, I have a guy. It's pretty short. Just because I've watched my only 2 Pirates games this season.
Yeah.
Is I'm going with O'Neal Cruz.
Yeah.
I was very excited going into the season because I knew he was supposed to be coming in. I was really hoping the Pirates just from the jump, you have shortstop. This is like, let's go and have fun this season. I would have watched a lot more Pirates games this year.
Yeah. No.
But he has impressed me in these last 2 games. He's fun to watch. He's playing with energy. That bullet of a throw.
Saw that play.
First,
96 mile an hour.
That got me so excited. And he's swinging the bat really well. I'm just already, like, in 2 games, he has 5 RBIs. Like,
Nuts.
Yeah.
I'm excited to watch him play, and I can't wait to see him just play for the rest of the season. I'm going to be watching a lot more Pirates games. And I don't know if they play the Dodgers again this season, but if they do, I am going, and I'll be wearing Pirate stuff.
I don't blame you. I am also very happy I got to scoop him up in fantasy. I just wanted to put it out there.
Yeah, you beat me by like probably.
We'll get there. We'll get there. We will get there.
All right. I'm gonna cheat the system as always, and then talk about two players. I'll get to the point in a second. I'm gonna talk about to start Seiya Suzuki, just because going back to a few episodes ago, fans of the podcast, you can listen to our preseason stats. None of us had a NL Rookie of the Year candidate, and we just threw out the name Seiya Suzuki because that was really the only one that we knew off the top of our head. We said it as a joke, but he very much was performing true to form up until he got injured. I'm gonna say his current stats. I don't think he's back in the majors yet. I think he's still rehabbing, rightfully so. The Cubs don't really have much to play for. But he was batting. He's currently batting 245, slugging 432. He had 12 doubles, 4 home runs, 21 RBIs. I think at the time of him going down, he was in contention for RBI leader. The man was really good. He's proving exactly what we all thought of him. So I just thought it'd be cool to throw him in there. But my player that I'm going to mention actually is Jeremy Pena.
Ooh, okay. I like that one. That was mine.
Everyone was so obsessed, with who's going to fill that Astros shortstop hole. No one really spoke about it. People were like, this is just not going to end up well. And I mean, the man is doing his thing, batting 277, on base percentage of 333, slugging a 471. I unfortunately have gotten to see him for the past few days in the games, and he's doing exactly what they thought he would. I think he's actually second in AL Rookie of the Year contention, depending on which rankings you're looking at. But I think he's the real deal, and I don't know how. Well, I know how the Astros did it. They tanked for forever, but I don't know how they got these prospects out there. But he filled in perfectly, and the Astros did not do anything wrong by not re-signing a name we won't mention on this podcast.
Fair enough. I was surprised. I thought you were going to go Julio Rodriguez. But...
I was, but it was between Julio Rodriguez, Seiya Suzuki, and Jeremy Pena, and I'm not going to pick all three. So
I was going O'Neal Cruz all the way through. I didn't care. I've been watching. I've been loving this man.
Nice.
All right. Then, out of curiosity, do you guys have somebody, sort of post All-Star or sort of September call-up that you maybe wanted to highlight quickly and say, maybe not going to be in a Rookie of the Year contention per se, but definitely is going to come in hot?
I have someone who don't want to come up, but you can. Julian.
I'll go first because I do have. I think we're probably going to see maybe 1 or 2 starts from him. I think he'll probably get called up in August. Is Grayson Rodriguez for the Orioles?
Yes.
He's pitching really well in AAA so far. He has a 5-1 record, 2.09 ERA, 56 innings pitched, a whiff rate of 0.84, and hitters are only hitting 168 off of him, which is really crazy.
Yeah.
His strikeout to walk ratio is nuts. He has 80 strikeouts to 14 walks.
Yeah.
He's going to come up, and it's going to be fun to watch, at least. Yeah. The Orioles are out of the contention, so they're going to call him up, see what they have, and then
for sure.
He'll torture the AL East next season.
Yeah, he was one of my guys. Also, I like the idea of him. Him and Adley Rutschman had been a pitcher catcher battery for a while down in minors. They had great success down there together. There's a comfort level with Adley being up, so the idea of the two of them being able to feed off of that together.
Orioles are low key cooking something up, which they should. Because they sucked for forever, but they're cooking.
Yeah, fair. Brandon, you want to go next here?
I'll go next. I mean, my point was I don't want to see Francisco Alvarez in the major.
I knew that's where you were going there.
I don't want to see him. I understand we are literally, it's like pulling teeth watching our catcher, whatever you want to call them. I don't want to call them a platoon because they just are not getting it done. James McCann will come back and make it worse. So I don't want Francisco Alvarez up in the majors. I think he does deserve a promotion to AAA. He's killing it in AA.
Yeah.
And
I saw those numbers earlier today, actually, and they were obscene.
I think in
He's
the
hit
month of
what was it? He's hit 21 home runs in his last 30 games or something like that.
Yeah,
Now
absolutely,
it's obscene numbers.
he's literally like when he gets called up, he will be an argument for one of trying to be an amazing catcher. I'm not gonna say greatest of all time. He's not even MLB yet, and I'm a Mets fan, so that's exaggerating, obviously. But I will say I'm very excited to see how Riley Green's going to play out for the rest of the year. He's someone who, he's going to have all the opportunity. Detroit is straight up tanking for God knows what reason. They have, with all that money they added on the books, and you were talking about rookies, one would think that Spencer Torkelson would have done a little better than what we expected him to be and what we project him to be. But it's not that he's doing bad, but he clearly is not the piece they needed to succeed. And they wasted so much money in these other spots that are clearly a waste of time. So might as well call up your young guns to see how they're going to do. So that's just my tidbit on him, and I think he'll be a September call up. He may even be.
He already got called up.
Oh, did he really?
Yeah, he already got called up. He played. I think he only played one game so far.
Okay, there you go.
He's only played one. Yeah, but it does prove your point that they are believing in him because his first game he batted 5th in the order.
That's insane. That's absolutely
insane. He batted 5th in the order, and he had a hell of a game. And the thing that was crazy because you know how baseball, the old heads like to give the rookies a hard time. First hit, first home run, silence, da. They were excited about him.
Of course.
They knew this is the guy who's going to be the one who carries. So let's give him all the support he needs.
Yeah. So my guy is shitty because it's replacing my guy. So it's going to be a Yankee, actually.
I wouldn't have thought.
I'm going one of the shortstop prospects coming up, and I have Oswald Peraza as the first shortstop up for the Yankees. IKF has done. I said prior to the season, I think a lot of Yankee fans would fall in love with him quickly if he played defense the way he played in Texas and just added, I said 260. He's batting 270 or whatever right now. So the bat has been there more so than the glove for IKF. The issue has been the errors. I think, Yankee fans, there's been a few guys, despite all the winning, that they've grown a little impatient with. I think IKF has been one of those guys, unfortunately. I'm curious to see, what the Yankees might try to do in terms of a stopgap to the stopgap, potentially. But I think ultimately, before we hit the end of the season, Oswald Peraza will get a couple looks over as shortstop. He's a defensive, mastermind. He's a defensive whiz. It's more so, can he sort of get to the bigs and hit at that level? I think is going to be the bigger question. But he's going to definitely get that first look. And then, we got Anthony Volpe down the stretch there.
I was going to say, see Volpe going to AAA by end of the year or next year?
I think once Peraza gets the call up to the bigs, Volpe takes his spot at AAA.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, so that's the thing. We got.
And it'll be only another year before you see Volpe.
Yeah, and then it's just a question of where do you shoehorn him in at that point. So, all right, we're going to transition now, and we're going to do a quick little speed round because of the very first All-Star balloting results have come out. So we're going to speed through this. It's, did they get it right? Did they get it wrong? So we're going to start in the National League. All right, I'm going to run through the guys who are polling well here. So National League catcher Wilson Contreras is the number one guy. They get it right. I think we're all in agreement there. I love the idea, honestly, of Yachty sort of being, on pace for, potentially playing a role there. Get into his sort of last All-Star game there. But they definitely got it right.
As a reserve, get Yachty, Pujols, Wainwright. Give them their last hurrah. They deserve it more than anybody.
Oh, of course. All right. So, first base, Paul Goldschmidt. Brandon, I feel like you have specific thoughts.
It sucks because Pete Alonso came out. I mean, I will admit I agree with the decision. Goldschmidt's having he's having too good of a season to not agree with that. I can't sit here and say no, but it's just sad because Pete Alonso already came out and said he's not going to defend his home run title if he doesn't come and participate in the All-Star game, which may be him just trying to make it his first All-Star appearance, which I'm not blaming. But I mean, at the end of the day, am I mad about it as a Mets fan? Yeah. What's up?
I think he'll be a reserve.
Yeah, I hope so. But I mean, I'll get into my gripe at the end about just All-Star voting in general. But I think that at the end of the day, Goldschmidt deserves it wholeheartedly, and hopefully Pete Alonso fans, come on, vote for him. Let's get him in there.
Yeah, I think Mets fans, you gotta vote for your guys.
Yeah.
You have one of the biggest fan bases in MLB.
Come on.
At least one Met.
Yeah.
But honestly, in my opinion, with my ballots, I've been swapping both of them. I do want Goldschmidt, but I've also wanted to give Alonso a lot of votes just to get the recognition that he deserves. Yeah. You can't go wrong with either, but Goldschmidt's like the clear number one for me.
And he's just like having a barely better season, if that makes sense. Like,
you know who's being brutalized by not having a fan base?
Cool. Nope, don't bring him up. We're moving on. Next.
All right, second base, Jazz Chisholm is number one. And it's not close. I was going to say in a tight second. No, it's not close.
But I think Jeff McNeil is another one in contention.
I think Jeff McNeil has the better stats than Jazz, but I feel like Jazz is the better name recognition and what he means to this season.
Yeah.
This has been Jazz's coming out party. So I think he does deserve it, but
it's going to be a foot race
really go wrong with this one.
With Ozzy breaking his foot. No.
Yeah.
And I'm glad Alex is not here for this next one.
Oh, yeah. So third base, not close
at all.
Thought it was going to be so much closer. I think once we get a little closer to the All-Star break itself, maybe we'll go into the full-on award season early conversation. But yeah, Manny Machado's running away.
As he should.
Away with it.
I mean, not so much anymore because he literally cannot run after spraining his ankle, but still running away. I think the stats he's put up, he could be out, 3-4 weeks. Give it time to heal, relax, take it easy. Not play till after the All-Star break, and he still deserves to be named the starter with how he's fared so far. So I am all in on this one. The next one here is maybe also a point of contention. I don't know. Shortstop. At the top, we have Trey Turner, and it's another not close race.
Yeah.
Which is kind of a slap in the face. Even more so because the guy I would have had number 2 would have been Francisco Lindor, is also not even second. And that also is not a tight one.
That's a
Mets fans, vote for your guys.
Thank you. Thank you. I don't understand why that's so hard. I mean, granted, this is a similar situation, which what sucks because like both first base and shortstop, you just have someone else just playing out of their mind this season.
Yeah.
And like it's nothing against the two guys who are arguably like co-captains for the team who like turned it around immensely this first half so far of the season. But yeah, like I don't understand how Dansby Swanson is getting outvoted. My whole rant that I'll just go on now is at the end of the day, all vote for your guys, but also let's do realistic votes of people who are actually playing. I'm looking at this right now. Fernando Tatis is number 5 on the list for All-Star votes. The man has literally not set foot on a baseball field.
I mean, that's All-Star voting in general. Because I remember the year that Kobe tore his Achilles, he was named the All-Star. I'm like, he hasn't played all season.
It's annoying. It's like, I understand, like, it's part of it's a haha, part of it's a like, well, name recognition, but like at the same time, like, no, like if they're not playing, like, let's give it to the guys who deserve it. Let's give it to the guys who at least give some type of recognition in the conversation. Like, it literally grinds my gears so much when I look at this.
You know what's really upsetting? Actually, now that I'm really analyzing this, right below him is Didi Gregorius, who's only played 18 games. Um, Down at 9 and 10 are Jose Iglesias, who's holding a 300 batting average, and Nico Horner, who's been a revelation for the Cubs. So that's just a whole lot of depression going on.
It's ridiculous.
Like,
Absolutely.
man, oh man.
With Dansby Swanson being in second.
Gosh.
I think that's just recency bias with Dansby Swanson, and I think Braves fans are voting for their guys.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Tommy Edman deserves more votes there.
Tommy Edman's been having a really good season, though. He's
Yeah.
low key been really.
All right, we'll move on real quick.
But
For the
yeah,
first time ever, we have a DH vote
for the pitcher,
in the National League. It is handedly going to Bryce Harper.
and that's the right vote.
Right.
Yeah. I believe he's a top 3 vote getter in the National League this year, actually.
He is.
Yeah.
At least as of right now. So yeah, no, that makes sense. Yeah, I think we talked about this. Was it last week, the week before? I couldn't see how it couldn't be Bryce Harper.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then in the outfield, I'm gonna give you your 3 starters as of right now. And I need a thumbs up or a thumbs down each name I read, okay? Mookie Betts. Ronald Acuna Jr. Oof.
I give it a sideways.
I
Wow.
voted for him. I'm not gonna lie, I voted for him.
Wow. I went thumbs down just because I didn't find a spot for him because of the other guys on this list.
Yeah.
Jock Peterson.
Yeah, I'll give it.
I have Jock. Starling Marte. Wow.
I'm gonna give him a sideways because this is my point.
Again, I
That
think
should be Brandon Nimmo. That should be Brandon Nimmo at 4 and Starling Marte at 5. Brandon Nimmo has, first of all, he's basically played every game this season, which is something is unheard of. He hasn't done since I think his first or second year in the league.
Yeah.
And he is leading. He's like top 3, I think, in like batting average still, or so. He's in one of those stats. He's like really being a revelation. And the man has web gems this year. Like he's playing an all-star.
He's had highlights.
Yeah, like I'm impressed.
All right.
But nothing against Starling Marte. I love Starling.
I'm just like, you guys are the best record in the National League, and you can't get your fans can't get a starter.
It makes no sense.
Not one position. I'm like, I don't understand.
Yeah, technically speaking, it won't even be the literal all-star game starter anymore because I guess you could have said maybe they give the nod to Scherzer there, but no. That's
It's
that's rough.
I do think you guys will get all-stars as like the reserves.
Yeah.
And I think that's where most of your names are going to come from. You're going to probably have like 4 or 5 off of there, but it's just baffling to me. Mets fans, again, vote for your guys that are having phenomenal seasons.
It makes no sense. The team is having a historic season, and All-Star break as of now, there's going to be nothing to show.
Yeah, that's fair. So we're going to move to the American League. And at catcher, Alejandro Kirk is leading. I think is kind of the right answer. But Julian mentioned a guy earlier who I think technically is in second place, but maybe he should start creeping up a little higher given all that he's been doing. Went from
June.
Yeah, so we're talking about Jose Trevino for the New York Yankees. Has been, I mean, a find and a half. I don't like this is going to a thrift store and finding Gucci. This is, digging for, a quarter on the beach and coming up with a diamond ring. This is unheard of what he has been able to do so far, considering he was traded to the Yankees for a flailing, pitching prospect in Albert Abreu 3 days before the start of the season. Albert Abreu, who is now back with the Yankees also. This is
week and a half.
yeah, this is he Alejandro Kirk deserves it. I think the only caveat with Alejandro Kirk is how much he's been DHing.
Yeah.
Be my only red flag there that maybe, tips it to Trevino. Kirk, though, I'll give it to him. I don't know if
I
you guys
think
have anybody else.
him.
Alex isn't here, so we're not going to get the Salvi shout out. So
No, I think Alejandro Kirk is the right choice. He's who I voted for, and him and the next person are the only two Blue Jays that should be on this fucking list.
yeah, they go hard in Canada, man. That
Bro,
shit's no joke.
Absolutely mind-boggling. It genuinely makes me upset that the American League is like this for a team that's 13 games back out of first.
Yeah.
I also want to say
Yeah.
Kirk is up
So,
there. No,
we're gonna
he's
So we're gonna go to first base real quick, and at the top of the list for first base, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. handedly so.
And it deserves it. He's the best first baseman in the American League.
I don't have Vladimir Guerrero Jr. as my all-star starter.
I know we shared it the other day. If you want to
Yeah.
share who you voted for,
I have Ty France.
he's having a good season. So if you want to,
He's in second right now. I just think Ty France has been absolutely. I mean, he's been the runaway best player on the Mariners this year.
yeah,
I think what he has been able to do offensively has been absolutely phenomenal. I think he's about league average defensively this year, but just from the sheer offensive side of the ball, what he has been able to do for a Seattle lineup that should have been better than it's been, it's unreal, truthfully. So I think he deserves the nod. I think this is, a situation of name value and Toronto going crazy. And also, Seattle fans aren't used to having things to cheer about, I think. So they don't know what to do when that happens.
when they have things to hear about.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot going on there. So I think that's really what's going on here. Also, sleeper, Luis Arias should be, third. I love Anthony Rizzo getting, his flowers and all that good shit. But Luis Arias has had a year.
He said it was
So,
pretty good.
just something to throw out there. Over at second base, Jose Altuve.
It's the right choice.
Yes, agreed.
I
think
didn't
you
have
didn't vote
Altuve.
for him. You didn't vote for him, but your vote wasn't a bad choice. Like
I have Andres Jimenez from the Cleveland Guardians.
he's one of the reasons they're playing really well, which
Yeah.
they're now in first place. So
Yeah.
hopefully that evens it out a little bit. But
No, it's the Astros fan base.
oh yeah, no, the Astros fan base and just the casual fan will always go for Altuve.
Yeah.
He's entered that category of just name
Yeah.
recognition that he's just going to get voted in every year.
Agreed.
Yeah, for sure.
Although I will say recently Jimenez is cooling off a little with his bat,
Yeah.
but he's still doing great. But I just want
Yeah.
to
Third base. Number one is Rafael Devers.
that's close
Which
though.
isn't a
Third-
terrible vote.
Third base can go either or because Rafael Devers, outside of April, has had a really good season.
Oh, for
But
sure.
I voted for Jose Ramirez, and I think Jose Ramirez should be.
I did.
Yes. Statistically speaking, Jose Ramirez, in terms of the run batted in right now, is on pace for something special.
Yeah.
Something we have not seen.
Deserving of that payment that
Yeah.
organization does not give willingly.
Yeah. What he's done is special. So I gave my vote to Jose Ramirez. I don't think Rafael Devers shouldn't be an all-star. I just think, credit where it's due. Also, I tend to lean towards sort of the first place element. I think not for nothing winning ball
Non-Boston
games.
players.
Yeah, that also that plays a little factor. Yeah. All right, then we have shortstop. Another one that I not.
This one gets me so mad when I look at
Bo
it.
Bichette is number one.
It's
It's not a runaway.
it's not a runaway, but it
Matt
should
is
be a
there.
thing. Comparing to the another two,
Number two and number three should definitely be number one and number two.
Yeah.
And we're talking about Tim Anderson at number two, Xander Bogaerts at number three. I think I had Tim Anderson as
I
my
also
shortstop.
voted Tim Anderson, but
Yeah.
Xander Bogaerts you can't go wrong with. And
Yeah.
if you look at it, just look at their stats, people.
Yeah.
It's night and day that they are better than Bo Bichette.
It's
They're having a better
going towards
season.
my point. The fans are not voting the way they're supposed to be voting, and it's
Yeah.
Tim Anderson is hitting 358 with an 894 OPS compared to Bo Bichette's 258 and 722. And then Xander Bogaerts is hitting 335 and an 883. Can we
I
we
think
be real?
Tim
Like,
Anderson-
I think what has to
Bo
happen.
Bichette has the RBIs and the home runs to compete with them, but outside
You know
of
what?
that, and I think those two are better defenders too, all in all.
You know what I think has to happen? I think outside of the province of Ontario, other people in Canada should not be allowed to vote.
Yes,
I think that's what this has to come down to.
until they
Because-
get the Expos back, and then
Yeah, and then
the Montreal or Quebec can vote.
yeah, then Quebec has a say. Otherwise, yeah, no, they should not. It's literally an entire country just pouring out votes at every.
Because they
position.
don't know any other players.
Yeah, basically. Designated hitter Jordan Alvarez is at the top.
He's the right vote. And
I
I voted for him. I didn't vote for
Yeah.
Otani.
Yeah.
I think Otani will get in as a pitcher. I don't think he'll get in as a hitter because he's kind of having a down year hitting wise.
As a hitter, he is. No one's talking about it, but it's true.
Yeah.
No, for sure. I actually had JD Martinez.
People have been
base-
sleeping on JD.
Yeah.
Baseball's leading, literal hitter. As of at least about a week ago or so, batting average through the roof, has been just an absolute different JD Martinez, I think, that we're used to seeing. The hard hit rate is down. I think he's just, aging, but he's aging gracefully. It's something definitely different for him.
The Red Sox haven't picked it up. He was my guy. I think the Mets should have gone after in the trade deadline to get another bat.
fair.
But they're going to keep him because now they're playing
Yeah.
they're in a playoff situation. But
No, for sure.
Martinez is having a really good year.
Agreed.
Yep.
But I think just Alvarez is just clear cut the best DH right now.
Yeah, no, for sure. And then in the outfield, we'll go thumbs up for the right answer, and thumbs down or thumbs sideways if you're, so on this. Aaron Judge, Mike Trout, George Springer.
But down, by the way. But not to mention Giancarlo Stanton also as the number 4 guy. I give it down.
Yeah, I didn't have Stanton there as the number 4.
I think it should be Buxton or Ward should be that third outfielder.
Yeah, I had Taylor Ward actually. I went Taylor Ward.
I voted for Taylor Ward, but I can understand with him being hurt and not really
playing for sure
why Buxton can go over him. But
also Michael Brantley is quietly having a pretty good season too.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah.
Also Andrew Benintendi, we've talked about a couple times on the pod, has been really playing well.
Julio Rodriguez is in the top 15 of voting.
Yeah.
For him.
Austin Hayes has been phenomenal in Baltimore, but no one watches Orioles baseball.
The man just hit a cycle today.
Yep.
By the 6th inning, by the way.
Yep. But we don't talk about Baltimore.
Why does Joey Gallo have votes?
It's Rangers fans who couldn't identify a Ranger on the ballot and said, "Oh, I remember him." That's literally all 156,000 votes because it wasn't Yankee fans.
Yeah.
So, that's all on them. All right. So, a quick little fantasy recap. Where are we at, guys? Because I really want to brag about this.
All right, go ahead. You can start.
Do you know where I'm at?
Are you number 1?
I am in first place.
Nice.
I am tied for first place.
I hate you.
Came all the way back, beat Steven this week. It's a big day for me. Actually, technically, I'm in second place. He owns the tiebreaker, apparently, for having scored more fantasy points overall. So I kind of feel like a Dodgers last season where, I have the second best record in the league, but it's not really reflected in how we would seed out in a playoff bracket. technically, I think I'd be facing someone who beat me in the regular season, which I don't love at the moment. But yeah, I'm really happy with life.
I
Things are
wanna
going
say,
well for me.
you are blowing me out of the water because all of your pitchers pitched today, and the one guy that I put got me negative points. So
I'm in a very similar situation as you with that.
it's very annoying.
I'm not worried about it though. So if you want to pick up where you were, Brandon, where are you?
So I lost to your brother, so I'm glad he's not on the podcast today. Similar situation. I just, for some reason, whenever I play Nick and Alex, it's like there, and then the last second, I lose, and it's the most annoying thing in the world. But it's all right. I told you, road to the playoffs. It's a long season. I'm happy. I can lose a game or two here. Nick's pitchers all pitched today, so I have nothing to worry about for the rest of the week.
That's not true, and you know that. I'm going to drop them all tomorrow and pick up 5 starters.
And I will be watching.
I will definitely be watching if that's the case. But hey, what are you gonna do?
I think I just stole what's his name off of you, Nick. Let me look at my roster.
No,
I
you
will
didn't.
say I'm very happy that I was the first though to pick up our boy and group favorite O'Neal Cruz, and I am excited for him to continue rocking out.
I thought I did.
Hell,
I'm currently in second place in the West. Your brother has a very commanding lead. I'm 5-5. Just bad pitching at bad times and me not paying attention has really cost me at least 3 games. Right now I'm losing this week, but I'm not worried because I'm playing Justin. And I've had 2 or 3 pitchers pitch so far this week. All my pitchers pitch on either Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I'm good. I'm not really that worried.
you're going to run away with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. By the way, speaking of brothers of Brandon, I did check the playoff sort of bracket there. Your brother Kevin at the moment has I believe, despite the fact that we are only 10 weeks into the season, he has under a 20% chance of making the playoffs,
That
which
would be
is
hilarious.
He's 1-9. I coasted this week against Kevin. I'm not gonna lie. I would check my standings. I'm like, I'm good. I don't need to really pay much.
for
For
those at home watching, Kevin essentially took all New York ball players, but inexplicably all the ones who were either already hurt or then got hurt. He had DeGrom.
He took Trevor Bauer.
He had
Trevor Bauer very high. I think the only guy who's been consistently productive for him has been Francisco Lindor.
Yeah.
But aside from that, it's been a rough go of things.
He has 8 players on the IL.
Yeah, rough start. But
In his defense, he has a pretty hefty IL and he's learning how to do fantasy. So I'll give him the credit.
Okay, fair enough. Okay. All right. So we're gonna wrap things up here. Brandon, you want to call bull real quick?
Sure. I will call bull on a fan base that adds to my frustration with all-star votes who sit there and get delusional in the last month and think that they actually have a chance this year. They may have fluked and won the World Series last year, but at the end of the day, they didn't deserve it. Your best player knew it. He left. He went to Los Angeles. Yes, I am talking about the Atlanta Braves, who had a 14-game win streak, who were on ESPN and forced everybody to talk about a team that was so far behind in the race for not only our NL division first place competition, but the NL race in general. Okay, cool. You went on a 14-game win streak. Who did you play? The Pirates, Detroit, more teams that don't matter. The second they go to play good, I'm sorry, wait, Julian, what was the score of the game today?
They ended up winning.
Oh, wait, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's not my point. My point of the matter is, at the end of the day, they're not as good as the Braves fans wanted to say. They literally came to play a semi-decent team within this last week and lost 2 out of 3 within second. Like, it wasn't even a competition. So I call bull on the Atlanta Braves fans and the Atlanta Braves thinking that, a 14-game win streak against shitty teams is actually worth talking about.
I'm gonna be honest, that hurts my feelings a little bit because I'm pretty sure that's how the Yankees started the season and everyone got upset about. But you know what? It's okay. We kept it going.
But the
Julian,
Yankees
go ahead.
Good teams. That's the difference.
Yeah, for sure. Julian, call
All
it.
right. I'm gonna call ball. And in honor of Father's Day, I'm gonna talk about the Seattle Mariners' father, Mike Trout. Outside of having taken 4 out of 5 in Seattle this weekend, Mike Trout had a phenomenal time hitting 5 home runs in those games. I'm just gonna talk about his time in Seattle. Out of his career 331 career home runs, he has 52 off of Seattle, a 325 batting average, 428 on base percentage, 668 slugging, and a 1097 OPS and 130 RBIs just to top it off.
Is that good?
That's phenomenal. That's it gets worse. Believe it or not, it gets worse. In Seattle, in the T-Mobile Safeco Field, whatever they want to call themselves now, he has 33 home runs. He ranks 16th all time of home runs in that stadium. And he's the only person who doesn't play for Seattle on that list. He is tied he's tied with Pujols for the most home runs in a other team's ballpark, where Pujols used to do that in Houston with 33. Mike Trout will beat that this year, and Seattle Mariner fans, just say Happy Father's Day to Mike Trout. Just give him a good little Happy Father's Day for you.
Daddy's home.
That is a great note to end this on. All right, a very happy belated Daddy's Day to all. Gentlemen, thank you for doing this with me.
Thanks for having me.
It is always a blast. And yeah, can't wait to do it again next week.